Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Military Mondays. If you and I don't know each other, I would love to get to know you and your potential business if you have a business. So reach out to me on Facebook or go to Military Mondays with an S.info, militarymondays.info. That way you can connect with me. If you are an entrepreneur and you have any connection to the military, whether you served, currently serving a spouse, or you support the military community in your business, I want to know you. So go to Military Mondays with an S.info and you might just get featured on one of these Military Monday shows. So this morning I have the honor and the privilege to have on my very dear friend, Chris Dyer. Chris is, how do I describe Chris? Chris is just a ball of fire. I met Chris about 2.5 years ago, I think it was. And, she was a new business owner and she was trying to figure it out and her feet weren't quite stable. And if you knew her then and you know her now, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, you need to get to know this lady because she has some big connections. She's a mover and shaker in the community in Colorado Springs and Las Vegas. So she travels between the two cities and has a global business. So welcome, Chris. I'm so excited to have you on.
Thank you, Brenda. Thank you for that very warm welcome. I appreciate that. And sometimes we can't see what other people see. And so thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. We had a discussion this weekend too. I've watched Chris grow. And, one of her businesses is Embellished Butterfly. And that just completely describes Chris over the last 2.5 years, going from the cocoon or just about to bust out of the cocoon to this beautiful butterfly in business. So I have Chris on this morning and probably some of you are thinking, okay, what does Chris have anything to do with the military? And so let's let our viewers in on your connection to the military.
Well, thank you, Brenda. It gives me a lot of sincere joy to actually be able to talk about it because those in my sphere of influence in circles, they really don't know what's behind the scenes and behind the curtain. And who is it that's supporting this person out there just trying to make the world a more beautiful place? So Eric is my husband of almost 18 years. He is a Marine veteran, served in the very first Gulf War. So that's letting you know our ages a little bit. And there's no shame behind that. With age comes great wisdom. And so our time together as being my second husband, he had already pretty much finished his military time, his career. He has a combined of about 12 years between 4 years completing his service with the Marines, doing 2 years with the Army. He was trying to get his degree, and life had different plans for him. So he did 2 years, had an honorable discharge from the Army for some very valid reasons, and also continued time with the National Guard. So all of that time was actually before we actually met. Well, technically, no. We actually met in X-ray school. So we've known each other since the early 90s, and he was still finishing up his time in the National Guard then. But I knew before him, I always had a sincere respect and admiration for men and women who have served our nation. And in hindsight, I wish that I had been encouraged to go down that path. What a wonderful way to be of service, just unselfish gift of time, energy, resources to be in service of our country. And so that has just been an inherent part of who I am all through my life. And to know this individual who, people who serve, they don't do it with the intent of being able to brag about it later in life. However, it's a reflection of the character to be willing to jump in and be of service in multiple capacities. And I wish that our youth today, I wish that I had the capacity to encourage my youth, even when I was raising my kids, to consider that. And, that's a story for a different time. But there's some amazing skill sets that are learned and acquired through time served. And so anyway, that's sort of the background. So I already had this immense respect for another individual, just based on the character and the integrity of who this person is. So anyway, he doesn't really talk about it, and yet it very much is a part of who he is. We talk about getting off our assets. Well, there's definitely some skills that we learn and invest in throughout our life that we don't get paid for, but definitely make us who we are and how we conduct ourselves in life, in business, and going on in perpetuity. Perpetuity seems to be the magic word. I think we've used it like 3 times in the last 24 hours, but it's true. I mean, it's something nobody can take away from you. It's that education, that skill set. It's like, you can't put a price tag on that. It's valuable. You just carry that with you throughout the remainder of your life. So that's who my husband is. Utmost character, integrity, and an immense respect for who he is. And that respect is mutual. And so we each have the capacity to support each other endlessly. And that's who he is. And that's who I'm proud to be married to. But it doesn't really get talked about. So I'm very, very happy to be able to convey that respect and admiration for him and other people who have served, and their families, even those who paid the ultimate price, and being able to do some work in the community and support some organizations who are also supporting military. So I will touch on that briefly. I know, Brenda, you probably have some questions to interject.
So, before we move on to those organizations that you are supporting in the community, because despite you not serving in the military, you have a huge heart and you are a server. You just serve in a different capacity. You serve in the business community. You are a light in many people's lives. And so I just want to put that out there to you, that just because you didn't serve in the military doesn't mean, and those that are watching that maybe have regrets. I had a few conversations this weekend with other people that said, I wish I had been encouraged. I wish I had followed that path. I thought about it. I looked into it, but I didn't do it. And I said, but you're serving, there was a different plan for your life and you're serving in a different way. So don't diminish that. Yes, I like to highlight the military. And so before we move on, I do want to talk about, for just a second, your husband's business and how people can connect with him, because people want to support veteran business owners. So let's just touch on that before we move into how you're moving and shaking in this community and helping other organizations.
No, absolutely. So Brenda, you touched on I'm the entrepreneur, the tale of two cities. So Eric and I actually moved to Colorado Springs about 4 years ago with the intent for him to work at Fort Carson. He was hired on by the DoD to work in the family practice setting, using his medical skills. He is a physician assistant, and we moved on our own dime. Took a pay cut, right? Because going from, public service to civilian to back to the government sector, there's a commitment and an investment. Sometimes going in the opposite direction to be a public servant, and just some other various reasons. So that was actually the draw here. Plus, we have family, grandkids here. My daughter and the grandkids live here. That was the intent for moving to Colorado Springs. And we've been on the East Coast and the West Coast, and then we came here. And as we both know, things happen for a reason. It got us here, and it got us on to the next step of the path and the journey. So his time here at Fort Carson was minimal, just due for a lot of reasons that I don't need to go into here. And so he went back to being a locums physician assistant, traveling to various, states, and working in the hospital settings where they had shortages. He definitely had a unique knack of being able to fill in on the spot, like hit the ground running. Whenever he would show up, he would hit the ground running, immediately jump in and be able to accommodate the patients and the patient load wherever he showed up.
So
So
I want to focus on that for a second, because not everybody has that skill. And I truly believe, and I want people watching that have a military background or are currently serving, that is a skill that I believe he learned in the military, because you have to be flexible. You have to be able to deploy. You need to be able to get to your new base and just fit right in and make things happen. And so, that's one of those skills that people don't think about that truly is tied to military service.
I see that for sure. Yeah. Well, I have a similar capacity. I think he and I have some matched energies, and how I developed mine is, I don't really know. I don't really think that much about it, but yeah, you're right. And sort of, he has a nomadic lifestyle a little bit, because when you're in the military, you get placed wherever the military wants to place you, that's convenient for them. And so I think in a lot of ways, he and I have a matched energy where, for me, I don't have to live in just one place. I can go where I need to go, where quickly, and not really get stressed about it. It's just inherent in our character. But anyway, so yes, he has that medical background, a physician assistant, a mid-level provider, if you will, and did that very successfully for the last 10 years, mostly in a traveling capacity. So that put a strain of distance, right? Physical miles, but not emotional and intellectual support for each other, which is very important in a relationship. We've always had a very strong relationship, that just that implicit trust of knowing we're all operating, doing our thing in integrity. We talk to each other a couple times a day, and we're supporting each other in our own personal and professional goals, which is very important. And that's probably rare in a lot of couples, I would think. That speaks to the character of both individuals, how solid they are in who they are, in their integrity and authenticity. So yes, so Eric, he and I moved here 4 years ago, went back to the traveling capacity, which just made him stronger, because he got exposure to many different types of patient demographics, different healthcare situations, and where he excels, and this should be no surprise, is in the urgent care emergency setting. That should be no surprise, just due to being in the military. What's interesting, though, is when he was in the military, he was not at all involved in the health profession. That came after. He was in infantry in when he was serving in the Gulf War. So, however he ended up in healthcare, who knows? Doesn't matter. No,
I was going to say
it doesn't matter. But he is very well qualified, very well prepared in his mental skill set to do that, and does an amazing job at it. And just being able to, the beauty of being a mid-level provider is you have the time and the capacity to give more individualized care to every person that walks in through the door. And so with that, he developed, when he was doing one of his traveling experiences in Oregon. We thought we were going to move back to Oregon because that's where we came from before we moved here. We love Oregon. It's just phenomenally beautiful, green and clean, and you got the coast and the mountains and all the things in between. But anyway, COVID had different plans for us. But anyway, he was able to give back to the military community through it's the VEC, right? It's the extension of the VA hospital to help veterans who are seeking disability rights for their time served, whether it was an injury, PTSD, whatever rights that they are owed by the government for their time served. My husband was able to do some work with the VEC to help these veterans weed through the process and the paperwork. And if anybody who deals with the government, it's not easy. So knowing the right questions to ask, right? How to present. He knows what the VA is looking for these veterans to qualify for their benefits. And so that was his way of being able to give back to the community of veterans who have served, to get what they're due, what they were promised when they signed up on the dotted line to give everything. And some veterans have thankfully not paid an ultimate price, but those that have suffered some type of medical injury, psychological injury, he can help weed through that paperwork and answer those questions. So that's probably the biggest way that he can give back now. And so he started his own business about 4 months ago. He is living in Las Vegas. He started a home inspection franchise called Home Team Home Inspection, which is a national franchise. And we never imagined that we would have space in Las Vegas, and yet we were open to it. And when we were, because it is a franchise, it's territory specific, we had the choice of 3 areas, 3 territories. And when asked what was the best fit for us, I got to thinking about it. It's like, well, I'm going to be living there, which would also be a good fit for my business. And that's why I selected, yes, I did have a say in the selection process. Vegas is going to be a great place for him to land and launch, and for me to expand. And that's why we ended up in Vegas. So I'm going to turn it over to you because I feel like I'm taking over the whole conversation.
No worries. I appreciate you. And I love this story. I've heard some of it, but not all of your story. And so it's good to fill in the blanks where I was missing pieces. But yes, Chris, as we said at the beginning, is the CEO of Dyer Consulting, and has Embellished Butterfly and many other entrepreneurial ventures, all under the consulting umbrella. And, you know, she just settled on that recently, as far as I know, on the CEO of Dyer Consulting, because she realized that she's getting her hands in lots of pots and helping lots of people, helping lots of business people stop sitting on their assets, as she says it, and to look at themselves through somebody else's eyes. Chris is really good at that, and bringing out the positive in others around her. And so consulting is a natural fit for her, helping people. She's helping me tomorrow with an event. She has a generous heart, and she's amazing. Her Embellished Butterfly, her Swarovski crystal, I think I said that right. She loves embellishing coffee mugs and bracelets. Oh, see, wait a minute. Let me see. I'll take it off my wrist so that you can see. So I'm wearing her bracelet today, which is my brand, Life's Real Currency, which you see up above. My husband and I have our own business. Most of you know that, but if you don't, again, go to militarymondays.info. You'll learn about my military background and a little bit about us. But she's all about blinging things out, making things fun, and changing the energy in the room. So tell us a little bit about that. And then I also know that you and I have a heart for a nonprofit here located, the headquarters is here in Colorado Springs. And some of the viewers know that my husband is a retired police officer, law enforcement for over 45 years. And of course, my military background, we both support, Chris, Mike, and I all support Angels of America's Fallen. And she's taken on a big role there. So let's talk about a little bit more about Chris instead of Eric and everybody else. I want to put the spotlight for a few minutes on Chris.
Oh, thank you, Brenda. So we're putting 30 years of education, occupation, investment in time and energy and all the things to where I am today, right? I mean, everything we've done in the past is preparing us for the next thing. And so healthcare background, obviously I mentioned my husband and I met, we actually met in X-ray school. So I'm still a registered X-ray technologist, probably ready to put that one on the shelf. I've been carrying it for so long and actually haven't practiced it for, I don't know, 15 or so, 16 years. But anyway, in 2005, I transitioned from healthcare administration and sales into becoming an entrepreneur. And I started just working a couple hours in the evening. I knew I had extra time. What can I do with that time? Oh, let me invest it and try starting another business or even seeing what that looks like. And it's amazing when you invest just a small amount of time and intention, how it can really blossom into something pretty magical. And with a work ethic and a can-do attitude, you can do anything. I firmly believe that. So I, within 6 months, turned a home business into income that replaced my full-time income, and was able to leave the W-2 work life. And that's not really what I expected, but I made it happen and saw the opportunity and ran with it. And within a couple years, ramped it up to multiple six figures because I can do that. But I knew something was missing, and it was because the business was strictly online. I knew I was missing that adult interaction. I was raising teenagers, also putting my husband through school and supporting a family with my home-based business, being a work-at-home mom. That tells you the work ethic behind the scenes, behind the curtain. And that's when I launched into, well, I'm giving my age away again. I loved going to aerobics. I love gym. I love the environment of the group fitness setting and the energy, right? And the music. And I kidded myself, well, I was too old to go to the clubs and dance, but I could do Zumba or do aerobics and get that same kind of energy and be healthy and be in a positive surrounding empowerment. Well, it didn't take me long to figure out, it's like, well, what would it look like if I became the instructor and I could convey that energy from the stage and help other people feel that amazing? And that's what I did. And I ran with it. And then soon after that came the personal training certification, because I wanted to walk the walk, talk the talk, be able to educate from the stage why it is important that we take care of our things and keep moving our body. And that's been an underlayment of how I preserve my energy and conserve the energy, manage the emotions, manage the ego, right? It's having that healthy lifestyle beneath the scenes, behind the curtain. And it is very much an important part of what I do today. I mean, I volunteer with the AARP. We have an online walking group. We have a Coffee Connect, and we're educating, adding value to older Americans online in Zoom, because that's what we have to work with right now. That's what a lot of people are most comfortable with until they are ready to get back and meet in person. So I'm still volunteering in other capacities that have nothing to do with my business, that still serve the community, and because it's inherently who I am at the heart. And I know I'm getting off track here, but for about 10-ish or so years, I had this successful online business. It served its purpose. It's like, okay, what do I do now, right? It's creating that new goal, something bigger, something beyond what I had already done in the past. And riding in the car, I was listening to some of my favorite music, and it's like, well, what would it look like if I took my creativity and put it out to the world for them to appreciate? Because we're listening to music, we have artists, you have somebody's painting on the wall, or art is conveyed in so many different forms and fashions through different media. It's like, what would it look like? And that's a new path that I explored, but I sat on it for a long time. Plus, life sort of kicked my legs out from underneath me a while. And so I sat in a space where, what does that even look like? And kind of that spiral, that vortex, right? And that was about the time we moved to Colorado Springs. I knew that I needed to be involved in a group of people that were strong, empowered, successful in their business, in their enterprises. And I knew that I needed to place myself in that space. And so, I joined my first networking group. That gave me the exposure to some pretty powerful people that, and resources and education, and knowing that's like, okay, it's time to reinvest in myself. What are these extra skills that I need to bring on to move to that next level? And oh boy. So Embellished Butterfly was the signature business that we launched, but I came up with a name 7 years ago before. It's been 10 years in the making, right? I had a love and a passion for bright, sparkly, shiny things, lots of color, lots of self-expression. I didn't want to do jewelry because there's already amazing jewelry artisans. So I really focused on, how do I differentiate myself from everyone else? That was a key thing that I picked up in Sales 101 back when I did sales. A lot of great skill sets I picked up in that first outside sales job, but differentiation. And so what I did is like, well, I don't want to make the art about me. I want to make it per the individual. Let's make it customized. Let's make it truly unique and exceptional. And that's what evolved. And you know, I started out with the basics, and a lot of people, I sort of typecast myself in that role. Well, people know me as the bling queen, the sparkle queen. You know, yes, I make, you know, pretty shiny objects that are fun and useful and practical. It's like, well, I got to go bigger, right? It's like, what's the big picture here? How can I really help people convey through the expression of art, and make them feel good, make them feel happy? And a lot of people take that for granted. And it truly is a big thing when I could be the conduit of an idea for somebody's gratitude and be that conduit and express it. I mean, I think, Brenda, you and I know this weekend was a pretty powerful expression of what that turned out to be.
Yes.
I would say that being able to commission something for another individual to convey that gratitude is the ultimate gift that I can give. And we all win. Everybody wins. And that's who I am in a nutshell. I am just a conduit of energy, using my creative energy, someone else's idea, bringing their idea to life to benefit someone else, right? And so that's what I do in a nutshell with Embellished Butterfly. Positively panache gifts. That's another way for me to showcase, express my gratitude for other creative entrepreneurs, help to market their business, give them the support, whether they want to go stay small or go big. That's up to them. Marketing them through my connections, my social media, my email networking or email campaigns, combining resources to market them, showcase them to other people, and highlight them and bring business to them. And again, I'm just the conduit, right? Through my expression, my energy, which obviously I have a huge capacity, but it's that's in itself is very rewarding, because I always knew that I wanted my businesses to be more than just about me. It's how can I highlight and showcase other people? I'm just a conduit. I'm really the right-hand person. I don't need to be front and center. How can I support you best? By the expression of art. And then the consulting is just a nice bow on the package, if you will, since we're using gifting terminology, that it's all the things behind the curtain that I can help and support and encourage and be a source of light. And it's funny, I made the comment a couple of weeks ago to some friends of mine that I would love to be the Oprah of entrepreneurs. And in a way, I am conducting myself and setting myself up to be a source of whatever it is you're looking for, right? It's like, have a conversation with Chris Dyer. What do you need? If I don't have it in my toolbox, you know, I can connect you to the right people that do. And if you're looking to express gratitude to somebody pretty spectacular, important, who's high level in your life, I do it, and we do an amazing job of that as well. And there's, you know, other ways. And Brenda, I know that Mailbox Power is a big way that you also show gratitude to your clients. You know, I also have access to that resource. And then when you're looking for something that's elevated, that's where you call in Chris Dyer.
Yep, exactly. And you know what? I love our conversation today, and we probably could talk for 2 or 3 hours. And so we will have to have you. No, you're fine. We'll have to have you on again, because there are so many layers to the onion, we'll call it, of Chris Dyer. I mean, we've only scratched the surface. And so if you've been inspired by this, or you're listening to this and you're like, oh my God, I know somebody that needs to hear this message, please like and share this and get it out to your community so that we can get the word out about Chris. But more importantly, Chris doesn't want the word out about her. Chris wants to help other people. And the only way she can help other people is if we get the word out about her, which you know, she likes to stay behind the scenes and not be front and center, but by being front and center, she can help a lot more people. So help me to put her front and center in all of your communities by liking and sharing this video with your communities. And if you are in a place in life that just isn't right, you know it's not right. You know, something's missing.
You're made for more.
Yeah, you're made for more. Absolutely. And Chris is an amazing person to talk to. and to help you with that and direct you to the right resources. So if that's you, again, reach out to Chris, connect with Chris. If for nothing else, make sure you go look at her pages, because her expressions of her talent, her artistic talent, are flippin' awesome. And as she said, I saw a piece of art this weekend that was commissioned, somebody had commissioned her to do, and it was phenomenal. So thank you for taking the time out on a Monday morning to be here, Chris. I know we will have you on multiple times, just because you're a connector, and we've already talked about some people that need to be here. Your husband, one of these days, maybe we'll convince him to be on one of these shows.
Yes.
And you have lots of other connections that we need to get the word out to the community about. So thank you, thank you, thank you for everything you do for the entire world, not just Colorado Springs community, not just Las Vegas, not just Oregon, everywhere, because you truly do impact people across the world.
Well, thank you. And we're just getting started.
Yes, yes. And I'm excited to be a part of that journey with you. So
Thank you,
with
Brenda.
that, I appreciate you all taking the time out to watch this on a Monday morning. Please like and share and connect with me at militarymondays.info. So that's militarymondays.info. You can watch some past episodes of amazing entrepreneurs like Chris. You can hear about my story and connect with me on Facebook. Let's have a conversation and let's see how I can help connect you to my community to help you in whatever it is that you are trying to accomplish in life. So with that, I look forward to seeing you all next Monday on Military Mondays. Bye, everyone.